Hello everyone and welcome back to Speak Like a Leader. International business is all about business English, and that requires confident speaking skills. So in this video, we will be going through great strategies on how to respond confidently to any question they might throw at you. And this is called thinking on your feet, thinking fast. So thinking on your feet is an expression that we use to describe the art of delivering a message on the spot without prior preparation or rehearsal. And this requires the ability to think quickly, to organize your thoughts effectively, and develop a clear and concise message to your audience. Now, this might be something that you can do automatically in your own native language, but when we're talking about English, when we're talking about a foreign language, this might require a little bit of further attention. So today we will learn 3 great strategies that are going to make you a great impromptu speaker, as we say. So impromptu is another word that means to think on your feet, to think fast. And you can use these strategies both in your own language, but of course also in business English. So in the first strategy, we're going to learn how to manage your anxiety related to speaking on the spot. We're also going to talk about how you can structure your thoughts to stay on topic and how you can connect with your audience. But before we do that, let's begin by reviewing the side effects of anxiety. Many people feel very stressed when they have to talk about topics that they're not prepared for. And anxiety can have several negative side effects. And these can lead to a lack of fluency when you're speaking, a lack of confidence in your communication, and also a negative self-image and a lack of self-esteem. Now, when we're going through these kind of emotions, it's very difficult for us to communicate our ideas correctly and efficiently. So it's very important that we learn how to manage these negative side effects. I'm going to show you 3 ways of dealing with your anxiety. And the first one is using positive affirmations. What does that mean? This means speaking out loud and speaking to yourself, telling yourself that you are willing and capable of having this kind of communication. So you can say things like, I am or I feel confident in my ability to communicate effectively. Say it out loud. I am prepared and knowledgeable about these topics being discussed. I trust myself to respond to any questions with grace and confidence. I am calm and centered, even in high-pressure situations. And I am open to new ideas and perspectives. I'm excited to enter into meaningful dialogues. A second way to deal with your anxiety is by reframing your negative thoughts into positive ideas. So you need first to understand, to identify the negative thought. Identify what is causing your anxiety. Because in some cases, it's not just the English. In some cases, there are other factors that are limiting your presentation skills. You need to evaluate that thought. Is this really true? Is there any evidence to support that I should be having this fear, this anxiety? Challenge the thought. What evidence supports the opposite perspective? So maybe there is evidence out there suggesting that your English is much better than you think it is. Maybe other people have been telling you that you're very good in expressing your ideas, or you're very good in your argumentative skills. And then you need to reframe the negative thought, replace it with a more positive and realistic thought, and repeat that positive thought. Do it several times until you believe it. And the third way to deal with your anxiety is to focus on the present. Don't think about what's going to happen in the next 50 minutes. Think about what's happening now. Focus on your audience. Instead of focusing on your nervousness, on your anxiety or self-doubt, shift your focus to the audience. Who is out there? Who am I addressing? Listen actively. This will also help you stay present in the moment. Pay attention to what the other people are saying. Pay attention to their words, their tone, their body language, and respond to what they're saying. And if necessary, take breaks. If you find yourself getting overwhelmed during a meeting, take a quick break to refocus and recenter yourself. This might just take a few breaths, or it might take a short walk around the building and re-entering the meeting in order to feel more relaxed and confident. Now, before we move on, here's a little teeny weeny bit of homework that you can do. What I would like you to do is write down a list of situations that trigger your anxiety related to impromptu speaking, such as speaking in front of a large group or being asked a tough question by a client. For each situation, so for each trigger of anxiety, write down why it makes you anxious and how you typically respond. This is going to be very helpful in identifying your triggers, which is the first step, of course, in managing your anxiety. The next strategy we're going to be looking at today in order to become an excellent impromptu speaker is structuring your thoughts. Now, strategy number 2 is all about structuring your thoughts quickly and efficiently. To achieve this objective, we will be exploring 3 techniques, and maybe you've heard of these. The first one is called mind mapping, the second one outlining, and the third is memorization. But first, let's see why structuring your thoughts is so important. There are actually 3 reasons. The first reason is that when you structure your thoughts, this helps you stay on topic, so you can communicate your ideas clearly. Secondly, it helps you think critically and logically, so your ideas will have a logical sequence and they're not going to be all over the place. And also, structuring your thoughts can help you reduce your anxiety and your nerves. So let's check out each method. So mind mapping, as the word suggests, is basically creating a map for your mind. So you start with a central idea, the main point you want to make, and then think about branches. So how can I branch out from the central idea into different points that I want to cover? And when I'm thinking about that, I'm not thinking about complete sentences, but I'm thinking about key words and phrases that I can use for each of my arguments. And then I can use lines or arrows to connect these related ideas. Now, this process can be done on paper if, of course, you have time to prepare before the meeting. If you don't have time to prepare, then this is a process that you can do in your mind. So when you're thinking about how I want to present my opinion, how I want to answer this question, start with the main point and then gradually branch out into different ideas, but don't forget to connect them to each other. Okay. Method number 2 is outlining. And again, on paper, this is an easy process, but when you have to do it in your mind during a business meeting, it requires a little bit of practice. So you have to start with a clear objective. So when you're answering a question, begin with outlining your main objective. So use an outline to organize your ideas in a logical manner. So break down your idea into smaller, more manageable pieces, both for you and for your audience. Okay, and you have to be flexible because you might have an idea in your mind, but somebody might interrupt you. Somebody might want to move on to another topic or discuss something into further detail. Be flexible enough to continue discussing one point, but then returning to your main idea again. And the third way is memorization. Now, I'm not a great fan of memorizing things, but you can memorize some sentences, some messages, in order to make sure that you have some strong, powerful vocabulary when you're answering. So you can memorize key words or key messages that you want to convey to your audience. You can memorize some facts and figures that could be important during the meeting and during your conversation. And you can also memorize a few opening or closing remarks, and this will help you make a strong first impression and leave a lasting impression with your audience. Now, before we move on to part number 3, here's a little bit of homework for those of you who want to practice this strategy further. Now, you can imagine you are attending an international business meeting with clients from different countries. During the meeting, one of the clients raises an unexpected objection to a proposal you have made. The objection is related to the pricing of the product you are offering, and you are asked the following question. Why is your price higher than last year? This is the second time you have increased it within the last couple of years. So I want you to try to respond to this objection on the spot and convince your client to accept the proposal. Now, to help you in your answer, I'm going to give you a practice prompt, so something you can start by. You could start by saying, "Thank you for your question. I understand your concern about the pricing of our product, and I appreciate you bringing it up. Allow me to explain how we arrived at this price point and why we believe it provides the best value for your business. First, let me break down the cost structure for you." So what are we doing here? We're always thanking the person who asked us a question, and then we're memorizing a nice first sentence, a first remark, so we make a good first impression. And then we go down into breaking down the idea. Okay, so outlining the idea or breaking it down into more branches and points that we can discuss further. And the last strategy for today, in order to become a great speaker when answering impromptu questions, is connecting with your audience. We're going to look at 3 great strategies to connect with your audience, and you can either use personal stories, analogies, or questions. Why don't we go into each and every one of these? A great way to connect with your audience is making it personal, using a personal story. Let's say that you are a salesperson presenting a new product to a potential client. You might start by sharing a personal experience that you personally had with this product. You could say, "When I first used this product, I was amazed by how much it improved my daily routine. I used to struggle with analyzing all company data, but since I started using this product, I can work much faster and our clients love it." A second way to connect with your audience is to use analogies. Let's say a sales professional is trying to sell a software product to a group of potential clients who are not tech savvy. They don't understand technology. The sales professional could use an analogy to explain the benefits of the software product in a way that is easy for the audience to understand. So the sales professional, could say something like this. Think of our software as a personal assistant for your business. Just as a personal assistant helps you manage your schedule, prioritize your tasks, and keep everything running smoothly, our software does the same for your business operations. It streamlines processes, saves time and money, and makes it easier for you to focus on what really matters, growing your business. And the third way to connect with your audience is by asking questions. Let's say a sales professional is pitching a new software product to a group of potential clients from different countries. The sales professional could start by asking questions to understand the specific needs and challenges of each country. For example, he could say, "Can you tell me about the specific challenges that your business is facing in your country? How do you currently manage your operations, and what areas do you feel could be improved? Are there any regulations or cultural factors that need to be taken into consideration when implementing new software solutions?" If you want to practice these 3 strategies of connecting to your audience, you have 3 options for homework. You can either think of a personal story that relates to a topic you might discuss in a meeting. You can think of a complex idea that you might need to explain in the meeting and come up with an analogy that will help your audience to understand this idea. Or you can think of a topic that you might discuss in a meeting and write down some questions that you could ask your audience. And there you have it, 3 great strategies in order to manage your anxiety, to structure your thoughts, and to connect with your audience. Use these 3 strategies in order to feel more confident when speaking on the spot. Now, if you found this lesson informative, feel free to subscribe to this channel for further lessons on how you can improve your business English skills. Thank you for watching and see you in our next lesson.